All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Acceptable Accuracy Podcast. This is Tyler.
And I'm Philip.
And today we have a very special episode with some new guests that we've never had on the show before, and we are super excited. We have Kyle and Paul. These are two guys that we have shot USPSA with multiple times, and they're great buddies of ours, and I'd love for them to go ahead and introduce themselves. Kyle, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Kyle. I've been shooting pretty much my whole life. Spent 4 years as an Army infantryman with the 10th Mountain Division, and then been working as in the professional firearms retail space for almost a decade now. After that, so
That's awesome, man. And Paul, go ahead and what about you, man?
Yeah, so I started shooting right before COVID hit. So I basically was having all the fun and found USPSA fairly quick. And then so from there, I was just kind of like, been my main focus is shooting USPSA. That's been about 4 years now, give or take. So,
Dude, that's awesome, man.
I didn't realize that it was that recent for you. And for the record, both Paul and Tyler started shooting USPSA sometime after COVID or before COVID, whatever. And I've been shooting for quite a while, and they are both faster than I am. So I don't know what's up with that. Clearly I don't practice enough.
It's in our genetics, man.
Well, when you start shooting during COVID, you learn how to dry fire really fast.
That's fair.
You know,
that
actually is a really good
double
point.
the size to move around there, Phil.
Well, yes, but I also have I should literally be able to reach halfway to all the targets, right? Just by leaning forward.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm so tall.
there was a stage recently at a USPSA match where you literally did that. You kind of just wrapped around a barrel and just one arm shot. I'm like, did he really just do that?
It was the last stage of the day, and I was like, you gotta have some fun, man.
Yeah, fair enough. So today we're going to go ahead and start a brand new series that I know Philip has been super excited about. So Phil, why don't you go and tell us what this new series is going to be?
All right, so I'll kind of kick off and talk about the series a bit, what the overall arching ideas are behind it, and then what we're going to do today. So this is what we're calling our Loadout series of episodes, where we give ourselves and the guests that we have on a dollar amount, and then we give them a scenario that it'll fit around. So, for example, we say you get $2,000, you have to set up a USPSA rig to shoot USPSA with, right? But for today, we're going to do a SHTF Into the World Loadout. So that means a few things. Tyler, kind of what are your thoughts about this specific type of loadout here and ideas around that?
I mean, if you think about it, it was kind of alluded to or related to what Paul was mentioning earlier with COVID. Like with the lockdowns, for me, the whole reason why I got into firearms to begin with is because of, well, Grand Rapids was being burnt down, and I wanted to make sure that I could protect myself. I was terrified of the riots, and I didn't know how to protect myself. So that wasn't a true SHTF situation, or, well, crap hits the fan, but it was getting there. So this has kind of been the direction that I've been going towards since 2020. And it's kind of funny when you brought this idea up and we're making our list, and I'm looking at my list, I'm like, I already have a good chunk of this. And then I kind of came to the conclusion, holy cow, I've spent a lot of money on this.
No, that's completely valid. And on the podcast too, we firmly believe that as a civilian, quote unquote, air quote, it was civilian, it's true. You should be able to own all of this stuff, and you should be able to train in it beyond just owning it, right? And we run, and Kyle has run a few matches like this as well too, outside the fact that he was infantry. But you should be able to run this equipment and be able to actually shoot in it and perform in it as well too. So that's a big part of not just owning it, but actually being able to quote unquote own it and run it, right?
I agree. And that's even why we've talked about this many times on the show with the Wolverine 5K event. That's why we do it, to use our gear, make sure we have what we like, and run it in a competition and see if we even like it or not. And the Zombie Invitational, which I've not done yet, but I know Kyle and Philip have both done. So I don't know. I'm really excited. This is something that I'm really excited to talk more about. And kind of like what you were mentioning, Phil, I was thinking about this. It was an interview. I don't know who it was, but it was this person that was going up to a bunch of college students asking, hey, what are your thoughts on the Second Amendment? And it goes to like this one guy where I'll admit, I judged him by his cover. And I looked at him, I was like, dude, this guy is going to be some like beta male who's going to talk about why the Second Amendment should be abolished. And he's like, nah, man, Second Amendment should be for all Americans. It's a God given right. And he's like, if I were to get something, I want a cannon. We need to have weapons and things that are available to our military. I'm like, I am sorry for judging by your cover, bro. You rock.
Yeah, and I
So,
this subject is very like, it's one of those things where I think over the years people got more acceptable around the fact of like, citizens owning tactical gear, right?
mhm,
And I think that should be completely allowed. So that's one of the reasons we brought the panel on today specifically, because we have a very different thought of firearms ownership and experience over time. Because obviously we talked about Kyle and his experience in infantry. Like I've been shooting for quite a while. I've got like all kinds of random experience shooting different types of competitions. Tyler, I know you're really into it from a self defense perspective, and then Paul, I think you're probably the one that probably has the least like ideas and concepts around SHTF stuff, which I thought was really interesting to kind of get your take. Real quick, I want to take the guests and kind of get their opinion on what it means for SHTF like concepts and gear before we really step into the episode. When I brought this to you, what did you think?
So, I mean, it comes in a variety of forms. I think preparing for a variety of situations, for the different natural disasters that can occur, different man-made disasters that can occur. There's a lot of different things that can influence the gear that you need to bring, as well as time of year, you know, region that you live in the country or in the world. Um, so my list is basically just kind of a general like not necessarily a total societal collapse or zombie apocalypse, but just kind of a world without like your common rule of law or social contract has kind of collapsed, where the guarantee of
mhm,
safety and security and shelter are maybe no longer there. um, that's kind of what the majority of stuff that I prepare for. In being in West Michigan, we're kind of blessed with having, the only real big concern we have is tornadoes and maybe a heavy snowfall or ice storm,
mhm.
losing power for a couple days, things like that. So some additional like uh, things like that can be done, but uh, generally, the situation is not going to be what we get to pick. So it's kind of fun to
Yeah.
be able to just make up a list that's like, hey, I think this will cover the most general uh, things that I could face in a bad situation.
Yeah, and oh, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I really like the term that you use in social contract. That's really interesting because it obviously everybody acts normal now because everything functions the way it's supposed to, right? Like you turn your lights on, they go on as long as you're paying your power bill, I guess. And even if you're not, sometimes your water works. If an incident happens, you call the police
Mhm.
department, the fire department, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But what happens when that stuff breaks down? And we think in the United States that we're protected from these things, but there's no guarantee to that not happening. Anyway, Paul, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
I mean, just I was just gonna say, like, I completely did not go along that route in terms of like I expected. Just I took this assignment and was like, well, if we're just everything is gonna go down, it's gonna go down, and I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get away from everybody as fast as possible. I was just going to assume that you know I can trust the people I trust, but everybody else is just enemy number one. So yeah, I think if I had gone the route Kyle had gone, it probably would have been a little bit more general, probably a little bit more reliant on things I already have. But I kind of was assuming the let's pack up all of my stuff and GTFO.
And honestly, I think that's okay because we didn't really put a lot of guide rails on this conversation because everybody's concepts and ideas are completely different, right? So, um, anyway, Tyler, you kind of want to kick us off real quick and go over some of the ground rules that we came up with in advance of of this episode and the things we want to put in place.
Yeah, so kind of like what Philip mentioned earlier, this was very much up for interpretation because even hearing what Kyle was talking about and what Paul's talking about, I'm like, man, I feel like my loadout might be even different. So it's kind of cool to see what happens. But kind of going back to the rules, once again, the number one rule is you have a $7,000 budget. Non-consumables do not count, such as ammo and food, etc. You can pick whatever you want, and in fact, if you just want to run through the streets with a HK 5, that's on you, bro. Just have fun with that. And then no clothing unless you want or need something very specific. If you want to run in your shirt and jeans, have a blast. You don't need to put in your American Eagle pants or whatever. Hey, American Eagle, sponsor
Straight.
us, by the way. Just kidding. Probably not. I don't think you ever would, but party on. I blew it. I could have asked somebody else, but I just had to pick American Eagle. That's
Cry
the
would
Well,
have
only
been
one I
a
could
good
think
one.
of.
yeah.
What's up?
Cry sponsor us.
Cry Precision. Please
Yeah,
sponsor
let
the
Cry Precision go in. Now you guys would definitely sponsor us. So let's party.
Hey, yeah, please. I will take a crap position. I'll take one of those. All of those.
And I think
Yeah.
the idea is like this is the when I say loadout, like this is the stuff that you're gonna grab and you're gonna put on when like stuff's gone wrong, right? From like a protection perspective, so that's body armor or whatever in that space, and then like a weapon that you're gonna use, and anything miscellaneous that goes along with that, right? So
Dude, I'm like thinking about my bug out bag now, and I didn't even include any of that.
well, and I didn't either. That was intentional because that was all supposed to be like this is like your like I'm going to war like stuff, right? Like you already have all that other stuff that's in your
Which
house, right?
I'm like, Kyle, just tell us what to wear, man. You're infantry. We're LARPers.
Yeah.
Hey,
We're
hey,
literally professional LARPers.
professional larpers.
Speaking onto that though, there is a lot of stuff that I I experienced and would better prepare me for this situation, but there's also a bit of a handicap there. I mean, an army marches on its stomach. It's the
Mhm.
uh, good. I can't remember the exact quote, but it's tacticians or good generals think of tacticians, great generals talk of logistics, something
Yeah,
Oh
along those
man.
lines.
Mhm.
And as we saw it in Ukraine, where you know
Yes.
one of the most powerful armies in the world is getting stopped by essentially ragtag forces because they're running out of gas
mm,
and
So
they're running
true.
out of food, and people are having to, instead of focusing on troop movements and things like that, they're having to scavenge from areas that they've been occupied because they're not eating. And if you can't get your soldiers warm, fed, hydrated, at least somewhat comfortable in their
Mhm.
environments, they're not going to fight for you.
Of
And
course not.
so some of those things are, some of these things on this list might be a little bit uh, odd that people would see, but it's definitely things that are maybe a little bit of a comfort item that would keep you in better spirits in a bad situation.
yeah. And then I will say that none of us have seen each other's list beforehand at all, and that was very intentional because I'm sure there's going to be some really controversial picks that we have for items. I may or may not have intentionally put some items in there that were specifically controversial, but would still function in this regard. It's controversial enough to be like, what the heck? But it's not controversial enough to be useless. Let's just put it that way. Okay. All right. Do we kind of want to step into it then and go through what we kind of picked? Does that sound good to everybody?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get
Yeah,
started.
for sure.
All right, let's kind of kick things off with the protection category. So for me, these were things like body armor, carriers, ballistic helmet, battle belt, you name it, that kind of stuff. So who'd like to kind of kick us off? To actually, Tyler, I'm gonna have you kick us off. What did you
Yeah.
pick?
So I guess based off of that, let's go ahead and why don't we do like yes, the overarching category is protection and equipment. So why don't I go ahead and go with the category of the belt, and then why don't we all kind of take turns like what we chose for a belt and kind of just go on from there, like hey, this is the carrier I chose, and so forth. So this way, one person's not talking for like
Yeah.
10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I agree with that.
So when it comes to battle belt, so typically, for those who don't, Phil knows this, but I usually use a blue alpha belt. But Phil has converted me. I'm actually going to go ahead and do a core essentials battle belt
My
instead.
man.
I really like it. I love the price point because right now you can get a core battle belt for about anywhere between 125 to 140. A blue alpha belt's going to get you around 160 to 170. And I already everyday carry a core essentials belt, so I love the ratcheting system. It's well made and can't really go wrong with it. On the belt itself, I'm going to use S-Tech Kiwis, the double pistol one, and then S-Tech Kiwis with the AR mount. I am going to go back and use a blue alpha dump pouch because I just like how it's set up. You're able to kind of mount it behind your S-Tacs. And then what else do I have on here? I have a blue force gear med kit and med supplies. I mean Magpul gloves, and then a push dagger. So that all comes out to $552. So that's my loadout. That's essentially what I already use now for whenever I LARP, whenever I do events like the Wolverine 5K, and coming up to the what's it called, the
Zombie
Zombie
Invitational.
Invitational.
Yeah.
But I've been convinced to move over to the um the core essentials belt.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess while I'm on here, technically my holster will be on there too. So a typical Safariland 6390 level 2 retention with a for my sidearm. And so actually this is, I will admit with you guys, so my total is 69.98, and I'm going to be real with you guys. I cheated.
Oh
Already
my
we're getting
goodness,
yes.
cheating!
This is cheating,
Hey, if you're not
right?
Oh
cheating,
my
if you're not
gosh.
cheating, you're not trying.
Exactly.
Okay,
So
explain.
to explain, what I did was I have current costs. If our as of today here in 2020 in April, this is how much it will cost. I'm actually putting the cost of this is how much I actually got it for. So
Mm.
a Safariland holster, it's about 150. I actually got it for $84 a couple years ago.
But
So
but you got it in a different way that people could get it today, if I remember correctly, right? You
yes.
didn't
So
buy
what I
it
did
new.
was I got it off of Amazon, and it was someone who returned it and they didn't like it. And for some reason they dropped that sucker's price down. It was probably like 130, 140 at the time. They brought it down to $84. I saw them, like I scooped it right up. So, and of course, since I'm using Safariland, I'll use the Safariland QLS system. I like how it pushes it just that half inch away from my leg, so it's a much easier presentation, and I'm able to switch out holsters quickly if I really needed to. And I'm a big fan of that drop leg flex adapter that Safariland has as well. So that's gonna add it to make it up to wow. So $170. So that puts me at what, like 722 for my whole belt rig setup with
Man,
the holster.
imagine spending $722 for just a belt setup.
I know.
Which is
Shame,
crazy to think
honestly.
about because that now that what's crazy is because I have spent that money. I'm
Yeah.
looking, I was like, I spent $800 on my belt
It's an investment,
setup.
bro.
It is. And I've
You
used
just
it now
can't
for
sell
years.
it.
I don't know, man. I mean, I bought it from the dude off of eBay. So worst case, I can do that again.
So your Safariland might be of questionable origin, is what you're saying.
It seems like it's legit.
I got it for Amazon, man.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It was
Nice.
Amazon.
Well, Amazon never has anything fake on their site, so
Anyways,
That's
thanks, Bezos.
questionable.
But
That's questionable.
I know it's completely questionable.
Amazon
Oh
sponsor,
man,
acceptable accuracy.
I don't know if I want Amazon to sponsor us.
I don't know. Bezos, you can keep your money.
Oh man. All right, Paul. What about you, man? What you got?
All
A new
right.
belt, yeah.
So I don't know what you were talking about with the Blue Alpha Battle Belt being like 160. I found it on their website for 150. I
It
did
was a
the.
range, man. Either okay, fine. I'm $10 off. All right. Yeah.
Hey, that matters in a budget bill. Come on.
I
No, but
wanted the D ring. That's probably why.
I don't know, man. I just went to their website and picked it. So yeah, the Blue Alpha Battle Belt.
Well,
It
actually,
seems to be.
do you know why, Paul? Do you know why? Because
Why?
I wanted the multicam. That's why it's 160.
I felt like I did multi. I don't know. Anyway,
I
it may
quit.
have
I'm
been.
trying, man. I'm just saying.
I don't know, but
Sure,
I
just
literally
go.
went on the website and literally just went on there. I was like, oh, this is how much it costs. Cool, and put it into my list.
For sure, man.
And then I did the STAC double pistol QEs
Yep.
32. I don't think this is controversial, but the internet memes would say differently. I'm putting on a T-Rex vertical GP pouch on there. He's been memed lately, and I don't know what's going on. I'm slow with that sort of thing, so maybe controversial, maybe not. Apparently the company makes a lot of good product. The company makes a lot of good products. I've never really had any issues with anything I've purchased from them, so there's that. Another Safari Lane holster, but I got a level 3 retention, a 6365 RDS holster for that. So it's got all the bells and whistles. And let me see if I put and a K-bar knife.
Oh, nice. That's a classic choice there, sir.
Yeah,
Classic.
Oh yeah.
And my total came out to be $603.
Nice. I like it. All right, Paul, you get to pick who gets to go next. I like this. I like this. The person that goes gets to pick who gets to go next.
Oh, okay.
That's nice. I like that.
Well, I mean, allegedly the most experienced should go next, right? Kyle.
All right. So my my first line, I guess, from the belt is a double alpha battle light. Just good 2-piece belt. Kiwi double pistol with the gap, and the Kiwi single rifle. I think those probably that combination is probably one of the best performance for the price. They have really good quality stuff, and honestly, their stuff kind of punches above its price point. Next thing is a T-Rex Arms trauma kit that's filled. I've had a lot of experience with T-Rex's stuff, and Lucas being controversial or not, I've met the man. I'm going to trust my interaction with him more than I'm going to trust your meme on the internet.
100%.
And then I'm going to go with a Cold Steel SK5 knife. I've had a couple of these in the past, never had any problems with them. They're a really good multi-purpose field fighting bushcrafting knife, and they're fairly inexpensive, so they're easy to replace if you damage one during training. And then an extra cat tourniquet from North American Rescue. Don't buy them from anyone else.
Oh, for sure.
And then I'm gonna have the Safari Land ALS holster, just standard light bearing, single retention holster from them for a Glock 19 with the TLR1 HL. So the total for that is gonna come with the gun, 2 mags, is gonna come in right at about $900.
So explain to me. I'm curious. Why did you choose the Blue Alpha light belt?
Mostly just for something a little bit on the lighter side. Don't need a D-ring. I don't see myself doing any rappelling. Somewhat in, combining tactical situations with like survival situations. Big part of survival is not taking unnecessary risks, not being Bear Grylls and climbing up waterfalls and jumping off cliffs and things like that. Minimizing your exposure to danger as most as possible. So clipping in, rappelling, things like that, not really something I'm gonna be concerned with.
Dude, I'm just imagining you climbing a waterfall right now, fully kitted out after that. I'm like, man, Kyle.
Couldn't you argue, Kyle, that you should be prepared for
Absolutely
this?
not. I will be as far away from water as possible.
But wouldn't you like it if your belt could do that?
Sure, if my budget wasn't $7,000.
Yeah, I know, right? It's funny because like at first when Phil messaged 7 grand, I'm like, oh yeah, it'll be fine, it'll be
Yeah, like
easy.
no problem, right?
I'll get to like Gucci, like I'll get to use all my current build out setup, and I'm like, I get to get upgrade a lot of stuff, and I'm like, no, I can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. If any of you have night vision, I hate you automatically because this $7,000 budget did not fit that. At least for me.
Uh, yeah, I saw $7,000 and immediately went, "Oh, there goes a PBS 14." That's not happening.
I just want to like foreshadow. This episode is going to be fantastic because you guys are going to be really pissed at me.
Oh my goodness!
Philip is
All
just
right.
running around with a
There's some-
PBS 14 and a hatchet.
Oh man.
I'm on the full belief now. Phil literally just like got the fakest crap junk on the internet.
The
There's
Call
no
of Duty
way.
Modern Warfare 4 night vision.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. There you go.
Well, it's funny because you're talking about the whole Call of Duty or the knife thing. Like I was thinking about like that knife build out in Call of Duty when you'd like run around and like stab people with like you get like the perk like sprint or whatever it was and just knife.
Yeah.
The commando lunge.
That is my SHTF plan.
Oh my goodness.
That's one of my
Speaking of your
favorite memes. Oh, go ahead, Tyler.
No, you're good, man. Go for it.
Oh, it's just one of my favorite memes is a loadouts. Primary, secondaries. Like HK 416 with all the mods. Secondary is like
Mhm.
the Glock Roland special, and then it's tertiary plan is like a combat tomahawk, and then HSTF plan is like night vision, a can of white monster, and a giant Bowie knife.
That sounds about right.
And some throwing
Oh,
axes.
man.
Don't forget those. If we're cutting this thing up.
Yeah, you gotta throw it across the map, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Dude,
If you
rebuilding.
360 it too,
Yeah.
style points.
Yeah.
There we go. 720, man.
Dual
But-
FMGs
Oh my
9s.
goodness.
Dual FMG 9s.
All right, Philip. So what about you? What's your loadout?
All right. So my belt.
Yep.
Are you ready for it?
No.
Is a core battle belt.
Yep.
So I picked that because I have one. I love it. It's fantastic.
Mhm.
And a Ned Foss knife. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I have.
So you were either not running a secondary, or you are Chicago specialing it.
So Paul,
Or he has
very
a holster on his carrier.
Paul, you're very
I
observant.
know.
I have no secondary.
That was honestly something that I wrestled with, and
Mhm.
I went back and forth between, because in real life my HS World Without Rule Law gun is a 20-inch rifle because velocity trumps plates every day, and
Mhm.
the majority of ammunition I can scrounge is probably going to be 55 grain ball, and my 20-inch barrels coming to vibe check your plates. But
yeah, exactly.
Or just get a bigger bullet with
that's
more
true.
velocity.
But having said that, it's a you'll hear it all day long. The Marines cleared Fallujah with 20-inch rifles. Good on them. I wasn't a Marine. I want my 14.5 M4 carbine, and still clearing the back end of a Walmart with a 14.5 rifle and not a pistol is a chore.
Yeah, and we'll dip into this too when we get into our weapons setup. But I very much similar concept to you, where I was like, all right, what kind of rifle can I get that's going to get some performance, and we'll get into that. But
Mhm.
my idea was that if the SHTF, like how often are you going to use your secondary? Now, I guess if your primary fails, then yes, absolutely. But I figure like if it gets, again, I'm not any kind of martial arts expert or anything, but I put a friggin'
Mhm.
knife on my belt. That was my idea.
Which
If
that
something
is your
gets up close.
secondary now. So
That
your
is my
secondary
secondary.
is your knife.
Yep.
So
Knife fighting's scary.
Yeah. So that was
It
my
is, man.
plan. And as a result, I freed up a lot of budget to spend on other things.
Yeah.
So your belt. So it's just your belt and a
And a knife.
knife.
Yeah. So I put the belt on there.
So you're
Honestly,
what, like
because I saw
$200?
I saw it was even less than that. I found the core for
150?
125, and the belt was the knife was like $25. And I have one of those knives. It works just fine. It's not the greatest knife in the world, and I'm sure if I had to like stab something with it, it would probably go dull immediately. But hopefully only
Hmm.
need to use it once.
Yeah, no, I needed something that was gonna last me a long time, in the assumption that everybody is just we purging, you know what I'm saying? So
Paul's got a Tom Brown tracker for $480.
no, K-Bar $93. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did
That's
spend good
legit.
money on it. Okay, but
Wow.
Uh,
wasn't no Gucci, Damascus steel, whatever. Just K-Bar.
we need to have a
Yeah.
knife discussion. You two.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess moving on, let's go ahead and go to plate carriers then. So, Kyle, why don't you start us off with that?
So I chose to have no ballistic protection at all. No
Oh,
helmet,
Interesting.
no
Okay.
plates, no plate
yeah,
carrier.
valid.
I've done a lot of movements, tactical movements, ruck marches, things like that, wearing plates.
Hmm.
Never been in a combat scenario, other than
Hmm.
simulated training environments and some very close friendly fire incidents. But plates seem to me, if unless I'm running in it as a team and doing direct action stuff, taking holding ground, plates seem to be more of a hindrance to me than a benefit. So I
Okay.
went with just a chest rig,
Huh.
Okay.
scout style. So I chose the Haley Strategic DC-3556 chest rig.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
I I have that rig. I like it a lot. It's very comfortable. The X harness isn't my favorite, but the way they set it up, it fits on my back pretty comfortably, even with wearing a rucksack. So it works better than some of the other X rigs that I've used in the past. Um, Adding on to that, I have just a water purification kit
Hmm.
with some simple, iodine tablets, things like that, and a life straw, and then
Hmm.
a simple lensatic compass for navigation.
Man,
Navigation.
I did not think about
I
that. Nor did
forgot about
I know,
navigation.
nor did I think about the gloves either, Tyler. I was actually gonna bring that up earlier, but that was a good call too. Man,
Mhm.
Yeah, I took out the gloves for my budget. I was just like, probably can do without, assuming that it was a part of the clothing topic personally.
Gloves for me were something that I did leave off, but reluctantly. I
just go
have
grab.
I have too many scars on my hands to not want to have gloves, but
Hmm.
also I feel like any hardware store slash grocery store slash auto parts store is going to have enough on the shelves that I can scrounge them. That's a
Yeah.
little bit of a
Easily.
theme of my kit. Is there are some key items missing, but are
Yeah.
readily accessible in a
Well,
world without rule of law.
yeah, I just assumed that because it was a part of the clothing thing technically, that I just left it off and kept going. Because
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, if you can't scrounge $25 for a pair of mechanic gloves, I think you're budgeting your life wrong.
Yes.
Right. And honestly too, like I mean, we did talk about the clothing things, but we did say that if somebody wanted something specific, like I have knee pads in my setup, right? Just because I want to call that out as a thing that like I think was important, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I got something super sexy for clothing. You guys aren't ready for it.
That's
Wow.
hilarious. All right, Kyle, who would you like to have go next with the plate carrier concept? Unless you have anything else, I apologize. I moved
No,
ahead
I
from
mean
you.
that's all I had. Just the chest rig that's going to carry my magazines and my little uh, daily essential kind of thing. So
Yeah.
Phil, why don't
So what is
you
that, like 3 mags?
yeah, it'll be
Is that what it
four.
is?
It'll be four
Four.
mags
Okay.
on the
Nice.
chest, one on the belt, and then one in the
Oh
gun.
yeah. Oh, for
So
sure. Hmm.
and then so yeah, Phil, why don't you went last time, so why don't you start off, kick
Cool.
us off again?
Yeah, so obviously because I didn't go with any kind of like belt mounted uh mag pouches for a firearm, which I do have on my list. So spoiler alert. Um, so I went with stuff that actually I already have personally because I really like it. Right.
Hmm.
So I recently picked up a whole Faro Concepts FCPC like kit from like top to bottom. So I'll skim through it real quick. I don't want to get into everything, but obviously the plate bags. I did elastic cover bund. I really like that. And with that, you get additional like options to hold mags in the side because they're cut specifically designed for mags carry. And then along with it, just a kangaroo front patch, like front flap to put mags in. So 3 in the front, and then you can carry some on the sides as well too. I did do a back panel with for water hydration, or for water hydration, the same thing, for hydration.
Mhm.
On the back, and of course the insert into the kangaroo itself for the actual magazines for 5.56. Spoiler alert. I did do a little mini dangler pouch in the front because I know you guys like dumb pouches and stuff, and I was like, well, I probably need somewhere to hold stuff that I can access in the front of me. I've got the dangler today, I like it. And then on the back, I did a roll one trauma pouch, which I really like. And then in that pouch, North American Rescue every year, and I own this. I bought it. They do a Halloween like sale on stuff, and they had an IFAC that had like a cat tourniquet, a bunch of other stop the bleed kind of stuff in it, and then taking that stuff out of that and putting there, and that was itself was $50. But the whole carrier setup, everything, and the camelback to go for the hydration in the back as well too. Let's see, we're at $675 for the carrier setup, $51 for the camelback, and what was $50 for the IFAC as well too to fill that out with.
What
So that was
about your
kind of my
plates?
setup. Oh yeah, and then plates. Thanks, Tyler. So I was looking at plates and trying to get something. Okay, so I want to preface this because Kyle was like, I'm gonna be myself or whatever. My thought was I was gonna be with all you fine gentlemen. So I did do the protection of plates and everything. So Mira Tactical has a set of level 4 plates for $250 a pop. I would have liked to have spent more money in this, but YouTube, it is what it is, but a ton of people have done tests for these plates and they have done really well, multi-hit and everything. So I did put that on my list for my plates. But yeah, that's what I've got on mine. Paul, I'm gonna have you go next.
All right. So I definitely had to go the Kyle route here with no any kind of ballistic protection.
Mhm.
And that was mainly purely because it was not in the budget. Like if I could fit a
Where
set of
did you spend your money, Paul?
you
I
I
might
need
know.
to know.
I
we
want to
We
we
will
know.
find out.
yeah,
Gold
you'll find out.
chains.
But so like no. But like I legit couldn't fit in the budget. So like even
Mhm.
at the very minimum I would have loved to have Hesco L210s social
Mhm.
threat plates
Yep.
with a like bare minimum a T-Rex Arms AC1 slick and run that completely slick
Yeah.
because at the very least it was something. But I with the budget, and this was like, and along with Kyle, Philo was saying, if we're all together in this, I'm definitely like the quote unquote mother hen of the group because there ain't no patrols for me because unless one of y'all give up your plates. But
That ain't happening, but
I had to go
Speed and
no.
concealment, baby. Speed
Yeah.
and concealment.
I had to go no armor. But
Okay.
I did do. I got a 511 tactical backpack. It's a 55-liter backpack.
Nice.
Um, and then hydration. I shelled out because again my mindset was um, everything has gone to crap. I can't trust people, and I'm gonna be alone for 1.5 years. So I shelled out money for an MSR Gear Guardian gravity purifier, water
Mhm.
purifier, and that's $300.
Oh,
And it's like it just like you can put the nastiest water in it, and it will run perfectly clear and clean. And you can do it comes with like these giant bags, and it's meant to do like I think 4 gallons at a time or something ridiculous, right? So that was pretty much it, right? And then should I include clothing in this? My very fancy clothing, or
Go
yeah. If
for
you
it,
want to,
man.
that
Go
that,
for
that
it.
now's the time, dude.
yeah. So I found a quote unquote BDU ultralight jacket and pants ghillie suit for $330
There it
because
is.
again I assume that I already don't like people, so the fact that the situations have been made worse, people are going to be even not so great. So bugging out and basically going full like into the woods kind of deal, a ghillie suit would be great, and you go to wherever you need to go, and you build out the rest of the ghillie suit with what's around, with the nature around you, and hopefully you stay away from people.
Man, I am like legitimately fascinated by everyone's take on all of this. And I'm really glad we didn't talk ahead of time because everybody's ideas and concepts are completely different and also very legitimate. Because you could just get your little ghillie suit and hide in a pile of leaves and call it good.
It's true. It's all about perspective, man. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. Even in the introduction, as we talked more about, I'm like, man, this it's fascinating to me. So it's cool to hear different perspectives and different interpretations of a situation like this. So I'm like, all right, okay, Paul, that makes sense.
All right, Paul, what other Gucci items you got on that list for clothing?
I think that was it, unless we're including eyes and ears, which I'm assuming will be a different topic.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I mean,
include any eye protection or ear protection.
go for it. I actually did too, and I just didn't bring it up. But if you want to go ahead and touch on what you got, then.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I did shell out money for a Sword and Supreme Pro,
Nice.
with the neckband ear pro, $295. I own a pair that's not the neckband. I work in a profession where I need my ears. I'm a music teacher, so I love having good ears, and so spending money to protect those is 100% me. The other thing I added was, because I own a pair of these. It's a 100 HD, but it's the active blue um, lenses for eyes. 375. Again, like, they're actually transitions that are worth putting money into. They're, ironically enough, the best pair of prescription glasses I own. Even the ones I got from my doctor aren't as nice.
Oh wow.
So like, it's, for something that, if I'm gonna be, theoretically I'm living outside by myself with nobody around, I would like to not go blind one day. And these things and these are supposed to be their more like well-rounded lenses, because they have like golds and they have ruby reds, and the blues are supposed to be, the outdoorsy type or whatever. So yeah, that's where I spent my money, and no ballistics, no ballistic protection was in that in that category. So,
And say it again. How much were those glasses?
so the glasses are $375.
Man,
But they do prescriptions for free if you are somebody with very close to 20/20 vision like myself, but your genetics said that your eyes are not perfectly round, so astigmatism.
Even then, man. Wow, that's. It
I
makes sense. It makes
I
sense. Okay.
like, if it's eye pro on top of it, right? It's so
well, and I can understand because, like, for me, I don't wear glasses. Right, so that's not something that's
Exactly.
top of mind. Now I do have protection, like I have glasses on my list, but I literally have a pair of Honeywell UVEX eyewear. The same stuff I use for competition, they're $5. Not even, they're like $4.59. But
Yeah.
they're fantastic because they're designed to be used in like a plant where you've got like you're putting stuff like machining stuff or whatever, right? So they offer enough protection, but even too, like you want the Swordens, dude, I went with a pair of Howard Lights like Impact Sports for $52.
I went with longevity and a lot of this stuff. So like, yeah, I have a pair of Howard Lights too. I have I have the Walkers, Razors,
Yeah.
but like, it's fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, it was like, I'm gonna be wearing these probably for the rest of my life. So I should probably pick
That's fair.
something that I won't hate.
That's fair.
Hmm.
All right, Paul, who do you want to pick to go next?
Right. So
Wow.
it's just Tyler. It's just Tyler, right? Because
It's
we
just
left me.
Yes, it's just me. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, I think Brent's up. Watch Brent just chime in. It's like, whoa, where'd you come from?
I know.
Oh man. So
Yeah.
since I know we just ended on iPro, we're talking about play carriers, but I'll admit I cheated again with iPro. I'm just gonna wear my
My
regular
God.
sunglasses.
I
So,
mean,
Well,
I guess that's like I'm gonna
they're
grab some
part of my
gardening gloves.
everyday sunglasses that I wear every single day. They are prescription, and I just wear them everywhere. So
well, don't
I'm
forget,
cheating again.
I
I don't even
included
care.
it into the plate carrier discussion.
I know, I know.
So,
So,
so
so
let's
going
hear
back to
about the armor.
yeah, so plate carrier, I'm choosing to use what I already bought, and I've trained in it. Use the 5K, so I have a HRT RAC carrier with a Maximus placard, hydration pack, and quick release cummerbund. And that itself, I did buy some of that used. So retail right now would be $765, but based off what I got it for, so it'd be around $690.
Nice.
So I I love that thing. Super comfortable, very breathable. And for plates, that's actually where I decided to spend a little more money. And I went with Deridium level 3 polyethylene plates. I chose
Fancy.
to go I chose to go with that, and those are $430 a piece. So that was $860. So
Um,
the reason why I went that
yeah.
route is because they're super light. They're 2.7 pounds each plate, and they're multi curve. I don't have a pair, but I've heard that they're very comfortable, very breathable, and they can withstand multiple hits just like ceramic plates. So, based off of my research, I'm like, yeah. So now I want to be able to be agile, be able to move around, and get some protection if I were to get shot at. So that's where I chose to kind of spend my money on.
I'm surprised there's so many different brands that you guys chose for, or at least just with you two. Like when I did my research, like all roads led back to Hesco's, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why. I don't know if it's because they're like industry standard or whatever. Like,
Amazing marketing.
oh really?
They have great
Yeah.
marketing.
Oh, I
It seems like a
just.
lot of YouTubers are selling Hesco's or at least
Yeah.
advertising
Oh
Hesco's right now.
really? I
Like
did not know
Warrior
that.
Poet, Grand Thumb. I don't know. I'm sorry, not Grand Thumb, but Lucas T-Rex Arms. So it just seems like a lot of these guys are promoting Hesco's right now.
Yeah. But like I think
Esco, please sponsor us.
yeah, I'm
Please,
down. Give
actually,
me
go
some
for it.
level 4
Drop
plates,
Deridiums, man,
please.
or Deridiums. You could sponsor us too, but
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. Mira, please sponsor us.
But like
yeah,
even
give us gas masks.
Yes, sir.
oh, I'm down for
I don't.
those.
I will admit, I do not have gas masks on my list.
I don't either.
No, I don't.
Oh,
The
I do.
I
like,
figured you
yeah.
would.
Yeah.
I knew
Well,
it.
the infantryman.
I was about to say the soldier. Of course you did.
Be exposed to CS gas one time, and then you'll always have a gas mask.
Oh
Yeah.
jeez.
Oh man, that's great.
I'm making a
Uh,
note of that too because I feel dumb not including a gas mask. Because
Yeah.
like,
It was
yeah,
I was thinking about it because it came up in my research. It's like, should I do this? I was like, if I'm out in the middle of nowhere, am I likely to get CS gas, let alone
bro,
Smoke from a
like
forest fire.
can't quote
yeah.
unquote run away from
hey,
said gas?
what did we learn from 2020, guys? All we need is a surgical mask.
Shh. Yeah, don't
It'll
A
protect
cloth
it.
mask.
A
love.
cloth
Bandana.
mask, man.
I
You got
was
bandana, a neck gaiter.
I was a college student during those days, so I for me it was literally uh
Paul, how old are
mask
you?
up, or I'm 25, bro. I'm great. I'm living life.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I
I mean,
I
I'm
mean
27, but still, wow.
I mean, you know,
Yeah, I guess you
visually,
would
whatever.
still be in college at that
Yeah.
point, wouldn't you?
Well, it was like what is it called? Like, you know, I literally had to. It was either mask up or don't get a degree, and
Yeah.
I was nearing. Yeah, I was nearing the end of my third year, give or take. I think it was. So it was. I'm already, you know, like 40 grand down the hole.
Oh, for sure.
So it literally was, I guess I have to do this if I want my
Mhm.
degree.
Interesting.
You know,
Man.
I didn't really have much option. I know, I'm sure there's people out there that had different experiences. I'm sure they were like, well, I'm just going to stay home and go full virtual anyway since it's up. Being a music student, I didn't have too much of a choice. I took every opportunity to be inside a classroom as much as possible. So
Hmm.
I had to, yeah. I wish I could have been one of the people that was like, you can't make, you can't make me do this. This is, but I sadly could not. So
Well, your degree was literally on the line, so
Yeah.
that makes sense, man. That sucks.
yeah, but gas mask.
Yeah.
I-
I guess this leads into another question. obviously we're still on the subject of protection equipment.
Uh
There
huh.
are clearly some items that we have not talked about yet because Kyle mentioned a gas mask.
And you mentioned
So
knee pads.
yeah, so I'm curious, Tyler, since we're still on you, do you have any other protection items that would not be considered like a plate carrier and plates?
I mean, I've got knee pads, so I chose to get the Arc. For the life of me, I will butcher this name.
Arc'teryx?
Sure, that one.
Arcteryx.
Arc'teryx Lee, so Terex, whatever. They're $70. I like them. I've
Yep.
used them for years now. I've worn them all day, no issues. Whether it's doing odd jobs at my work, at home, or at the range, they're super comfy. I like them, and I'm able to pop them on and off, and I'm not stuck to a pair of pants. That's why I like them. Um, hearing protection, Howard lights, super simple. And I did with these with a like a it's like an attachment where you can put a microphone onto it and then it'll connect to a
Yep.
Baofeng UV5R radio, which I mount to my carrier. So now I think about it, my carrier will have two AR mags, two pistol mags as well. So I'm which and all my AR mags are P mags with Ranger plates. So I don't even know where I have that on my list. Here it is. $150 for pistol mags and $91 for AR mags and with the Ranger plates. Let's see, what else do I have for protection? I think that's about it. I didn't. So eyes, ears, hearing, knees, plates. That's all I got.
So, Kyle, you can mention the gas mask. Do you want to talk about that and anything else you have along protection that wouldn't fall into like a traditional like plate carrier concept?
Yeah, so I mean, if we're talking about just like general protection, like
Yeah.
there's obviously the gas mask. I just picked an M40, military surplus gas mask. It uses NATO
Mm-hmm.
filters, which are pretty easy to get your hands on, to get replacements and things like that. And I've been in some pretty hefty hot box rooms with CS gas and various other airborne chemicals, and been just fine. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it works, and it's tried and true. Um, I don't have any like knee pads. Obviously, I'm not taking a helmet or a plate carrier, but I despise being rained on. Uh,
Mm.
so
Did you get a poncho?
I have a poncho. I
My
also have
man.
the complete U.S. Army surplus sleep system, which includes a bivy sack. Uh, being wet sucks. Being wet and being unable to dry off is miserable.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the two layers. Ponchos with 550 cord can make very good improvised shelters if you're not anywhere near like hard structures. And I've been in very very extreme weather conditions and been very dry under a very small and concealable improvised shelter we using a poncho. So it's those are probably the only two, like I would say, unconventional protection items that wouldn't necessarily be thought about.
Huh. Again, like I'm completely like blown away and fascinated by everybody's kind of like ideas and things that they wanted to specifically pick from like, protection gear. Like, we've got like Tyler and I with plates. You got Kyle considering like environmental items,
Mm-hmm.
like gas, that's those kind of things. I didn't even think about those. Like we talked about before we got on this episode of like I'm forgetting stuff that makes sense, right? So things to think about if we were to expand this list off another $3,000 or something like that. Like a ton of the stuff you guys have suggested would go on my list for sure.
You can't shoot what you can't see. So
Yep,
just
that's
saying
legit.
that ghillie
That's
suit be
legit.
kind
Yeah.
of bussin', as the
Well,
kids say.
I hope it's got thermal protection
Right.
I don't know,
because I can
man.
see you.
Hopefully, I'll be a mile away.
I did have a few extra protection items on here
Go
for
for it.
very specific reasons. I did include, and this is something I recently got. And actually, we were just checking it out today. But I put a ballistic helmet on here, and that'll come into play for some items I have selected later. I actually thought about this a lot because ballistic helmets are heavy. And Kyle actually had this talk because he wore one, a lot in infantry because I had a lot of questions on it. They're heavy. They're going to hurt your neck, and you got to get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I almost put a bump helmet on here to reduce weight for an item coming up later, right? But I was like, well, the cost was so close. And again, my concept is I was gonna be around people, and then my thought was like, I'll be inside a building or like in a like property, somebody's property, like defending that property, blah blah, whatever, right? Like any kind of traditional SHTF book scenario, right? So I do have that on there. It's a 3A helmet, made in Europe. It's got like mounting for things that might come later.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, Tyler, I like your knee pads. So I picked
Mm-hmm.
the same things, the Leaf knee pads as well too.
Nice.
So again, $70. That's how I found
Yep.
them on there too. The helmet itself is $550. But
Well,
yeah,
so
those are the
guess what,
only other.
Philip?
Yeah,
I forgot. I chose your helmet as well. So
my
yes,
man. Yeah.
I can't
I
believe
did. What's up?
I can't
What
believe
you?
you guys found a ballistic helmet for $550. I'm looking at a ballistic helmet for literally $1,100.
Well,
Like,
Philip actually
I,
has this helmet, so I saw him like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it. But I will admit, it's completely bare.
Yeah.
So spoiler alert on my end, it's just a ballistic helmet, and that's about it on my end.
And we sorry, real quick, Kyle. We talk a lot about this. Like, I've got ballistic plates, I've got a ballistic helmet, but if we got shot, it would not be a good day. Let's just be
No,
honest.
no.
And,
But
and if in SHTF scenario, you better hope you got a doctor or somebody with you too, because you're probably gonna pop some ribs. So
so speaking on that with the ballistic helmet, I mean, majority of ballistic helmets are level 3A, so they're only going to
yeah,
be rated for usually up to a 44 Magnum at
yep,
Yeah.
very close range, which is
yep.
great.
Shotgun.
Or shotgun shells, but you're most likely everyone I know. Surprisingly, I know a few guys who've been shot in the head and survived.
Hmm.
That's kind of odd. But total sidebar. But
Yeah, I know, right?
it's in all instances they've been knocked unconscious. So
Yeah.
that's where that team effort comes from, and also
Yep.
what kind of environment you're in. If I was going to take this low, $7,000 to go contract in Iraq, Ukraine right now, where
Hmm.
artillery is extremely common, a ballistic helmet and a full IOTV plate carrier would absolutely be on my list, because I'm in far more
Mm-hmm.
danger of being wounded by shrapnel and air bursting munitions than
Yep.
I am from direct fire. So that being the number one producing casualties over there would dramatically change my loadout, versus maneuvering in open fields by myself or through urban environments, trying to move quickly and quietly and avoiding engagements versus
Mm-hmm.
taking and holding ground.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
That
think
makes sense.
I don't think a $3,000 Ops Core helmet that's rated for 5.56.762 was in any of our budgets. So,
No,
No,
not even remotely close.
no.
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 Well, how about this? You guys can put my motorcycle helmet on. I'll hit you with a baseball bat, and you can see what.
Yes,
You can
yes,
probably
let's
get
do
close
it.
to what it's like to get
Man.
shot in
Where
the
do
head.
I sign up?
You can go first.
I'll go first. As we all know, I will go first.
Yeah, Paul's always willing to go first.
He'll
I
go
am.
first, and then we'll OC spray Philip, and
Yeah,
then I'll
Yeah.
record and then run away when it's my turn.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm
the
kidding,
worst case
man.
scenario, Kyle will just hog tie you and throw you into a gas chamber, and we'll see if you're immune to the gas or not. Which
Hey,
apparently some lucky people are.
one in 100,000 people.
Dang. Is
Oh
that
Oh,
worthwhile
man.
experiment if the three of us just get into a
I
chamber?
would recommend it. I would recommend it.
A small part of me is that curious to know.
But wouldn't it be
If
cool
you
if
have
you
sinus
were?
issues, though, it is the best clearance for that.
I mean,
Oh,
that's been my
fair
entire life.
enough.
That has been my entire life.
The
Oh,
best
man,
breathing you'll
that's
ever
amazing.
experience is about 15 minutes after you leave that room.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Dude. Okay, so
All right,
Phil, so what else you got? So you got the Leaf knee pads,
yeah,
your
helmet.
European helmet. What else you
Yep,
got for us?
yep. So that's what I got for protection.
Okay.
Do you want to
No
step
hearing
into?
protection?
Oh, yeah, we talked about that a little earlier. Howard lights. So okay,
Oh,
so
right.
actually, this is.
Gotcha.
I'm
Yep.
glad you brought this up because I looked at getting helmet-mounted ear protection, and actually, Kyle and I had this exact conversation earlier today. But
Mm-hmm.
if you ever have to take off your helmet and then you have to fire your rifle or pistol or whatever it is that you have on you, and your
Mm-hmm.
ears go with it, like goodbye eardrums. And so I was like, well, if I have the Howard lights underneath, and I know for a fact they fit because I tried it.
Yep.
So I'd actually wear those underneath the helmet and then be able to take the helmet off if I had to. Still have hearing protection. And I was able to save like $75 off of my my like budget for this thing.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I actually tried initially. I was gonna put those in there. I was like, wait a minute. No, I can just put it underneath and it'll be fine. It's actually semi-comfortable. I was actually impressed at how I was surprised.
Hmm.
All right, do we want to dig into like secondary firearms or secondary equipment that people have from like like taser? You got a taser on their list?
I am almost willing. I'm put this out there. I'm almost willing to put money down that me and Kyle have almost the exact same secondary. Right? I'm almost 100% confident.
I would bet you don't.
So let's start with Kyle then. Go for it, man.
So I have a used Glock 19 Gen 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, handgun. The grip fits my 12-year-old girl hands really well, and I've actually got 3 of them, and they work.
12-year-old girl hands?
Yes. No, Glock 19s.
Oh my goodness.
But I think they're the best all-around gun that you can have. The age-old gun guy sitting around drinking beers after a match or something. It's like, if you could only own one gun, what would it be? And it would be a Glock 19 Gen 4.
Yep.
That being said, absolutely garbage sights. Glock sights are terrible. You should change them out before you even leave the store with it. I really like the Ameriglow protector sights. They're a blacked out rear sight with a high-vis orange ring with a tritium vial in the front. Not a really big fan of night sights. They are good for having a reference point in the dark before you activate your weapon light, but they're pretty much useless once you have a weapon light on the gun. That being said, I have a TLR1 HL on it, also one of my favorite handgun lights. Not quite as durable as like a Surefire X300, or has as good as throw as like the X300 Turbo, or some of the other options out there from like Mod Light or Cloud Defensive, but works really well. I've got lots of them with many rounds on those, and they've worked great for me so far. 3 mags come with the gun. Typically, being a used gun, you may get more, you may get less, but the factory option comes with 3. Being it's a secondary wouldn't be my go-to, so having only 3 mags I think is plenty in that situation. So yeah, that in my Safariland ALS holster on my belt.
Nice.
I thought you were gonna say like 1911, 2 world wars, bro.
There is something to be said about
he's got the German round, man.
Having a 45 ACP. The age-old caliber debate of 9mm versus 40 has been pretty much leveled by modern engineering and ballistics with hollow points. But if you're not able to get your preferred round, like Federal HSTs or Spear Gold Dots, to help even that playing field, shooting a big old 230 round subsonic round at somebody is not a bad option. So that is something that I go back and forth with. But 9mm ammunition availability, being using the gun that's probably going to be in any police station, patrol car, the house down the street. It's not a bad one to be able to scrounge parts, mags, ammunition for down the road.
So am I the only one that got a 38 Super open gun from Infinity then?
Yes.
Hey, whoa! Hang on. Kyle gets to pick who's next. So I'm just
I want to hear about Paul's open gun.
There you go.
I need to hear about this. He's like, how you guys can afford the plate carriers and all this? Yeah,
it's got a $5,000 gun.
No. So I don't know what the fascination is with a less than full size gun for this sort of situation. So I went with the Glock 47. Allegedly, it's just the updated 17. I don't know. That's what everyone tells me. Glocks have a proven track record, so Glock 47 MOS was the pick.
I could actually answer that question, why I chose a 19 over the 47.
Yes, please.
Magazine availability. I can use if I come across somebody that was carrying a Glock 19, I can use their mags. If I come across somebody that's carrying a 47 or a 17, I can use their mags.
Oh,
So it
okay.
That's a
essentially
great
just
point.
opens up my scrounging ability. And again, 12-year-old girl hands, so it fits me like a
Mhm.
full-size gun.
I get that,
Jeez.
man. I totally get that.
What does that say about me that shoots a Beretta 92 full time?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a short grip, but okay. So I mean, that I guess that makes sense. But I chose a full size gun. I was like, I'm in this sort of scenario. I want I want a big gun that shoots 9 mil, and a Glock 47 was the answer. I put a Trijicon RMR Type 2 on it. I shoot dots full time. It's what I'm used to. It's just reliable. So I did that. And then a Streamlight TLR1 HL and 2 extra mags. So I got a
Mhm.
nice little package for for my Safariland holster. Nice and easy.
I like it. It's a classic.
Good choice.
Yeah, I know. I should just gone. I should have gone something fancy like a Shadow 2 or something. But oh well.
Stealth Arms Platypus.
Yeah,
still run your 17 mass.
I could, but it's
Or really, really fancy and go the PSA dagger. Just saying.
Yeah.
Or the PSA dagger saber.
Yeah,
There you go.
poor poet.
The
The
know,
poor
right?
poet.
The thing
Oh
is,
my
like,
God.
their sabers like they're mid poet now, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Like what, $600 for? I'm like, it's actually a pretty cool setup. Looking at it,
Yeah.
for $600-700. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Having shooting a 92 full time, like I understand. I don't let anybody kid you. Like if I drop my mags in, the sand pit that is one of the one of the bays at South Kent, like yeah, like I need to scrub that thing out and whack out all the sand. So yeah, it sounds like Glock was the answer. As much as I would hate to test it, it's going to be reliable. It's going to do the job. So
Yeah.
Glock, sorry.
perfection, bro. Even though they have 5 gens of it, they had to make perfect better 4 more times.
And every Glock is almost the same.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like the iPhones.
Yep.
I mean,
iPhone of the gun world.
And they legit. I mean, at least Glock hasn't been sued recently, like Apple has. So we got that going for us.
All right, Paul. Who do you want to talk about their secondary next?
All right. Ooh, let's go, Phil.
I got a dagger. And I say I got a knife.
A
on my
literal dagger.
Oh right, that's right. I completely forgot about
that. It's a PSA dagger. That's what it is.
It's got a Kydex sheath that attaches to my core belt.
Hot.
Tyler, what do you have for your secondary?
so for your secondary, Philip, is it a belt mount or is it a tech lock? How do you?
It is. So it comes the actual belt itself comes with a tech lock. It's a
nice.
rip off tech lock, but it comes with one. So which is kind of why I was like, well, I'll just throw the belt in there because
I'm trying to remember too. Because I mean, we went shooting recently. I think you have some paracord at the end of your knife too, right?
Yeah, I honestly it came with it, and it was like I haven't gotten it hung on anything yet, so it's still there. As soon as it gets hung on something and whips that knife out, I'm getting rid of it. But it's tied pretty close to the knife.
No, what I'm saying is now you have paracord too.
That's fair. Hey, bonus.
You're welcome. I know your gear better than you.
I could use it to strangle somebody if I had to.
Oh man.
All right, Tyler. What do you got that's a Glock?
So I went Gucci Glock. So Gucci-ish Glock. So I did choose my War Poet. So it's my Shadow Systems MR 920 War Poet, which is a Glock 19 Gen 4 clone, which has the blacked out rears and the Ameriglow front sight. And I chose to do a Holosun 509T. I usually have a 507C ACSS on there, but I chose to get the 509T because it's a closed emitter.
Smart.
I want to be able to protect that dot from the elements, whether it's the rain, dust, or anything. So now all I need to do is just wipe both sides, and I'm good to go. So, and of course, a Streamlight TLR1 HL as well. And I am using primarily Glock 19X mags, which are the 19 rounders, the coyote brown whatever color, and I have what did I say, 5 of those, two of my plate carrier, 2 in my belt, and 1 in the gun itself. So it's a gun that I've been shooting now for 3-4 years. I conceal carry it. I use it for USPSA. I use it for Wolverine 5K. I pretty much use that gun 99% of the time. So it's ran great for me. Only recently I've started noticing some issues, but I needed to replace my guide rod and recoil spring, and it's running flawless again. So I love that thing.
If you had just gotten a regular Glock, you wouldn't have had to replace your guide rod and recoil spring.
Yeah, you do. It's like every 5,000 rounds or something like that. Kyle, you might know more
5,000
about this than
rounds
me.
is
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought it
5,000
was.
rounds is a good
Dang.
benchmark for
and that's
changing
about
out
where
recoil
my
springs.
shadow system's at. I'd say if I were to estimate, I'm around 5,000 or 6,000 rounds right now. So
Oh, yikes. Does that mean I need to replace my 92 guide rod spring soon?
Well,
I would recommend it. Last time I shot it.
Wow. Thanks.
I'm thinking about my my Smith Wesson core that I've got probably 8,000 rounds through that I might want to consider doing something with, but it still cycles, and I don't use it as my primary anyway for USPSA. So I don't know. We'll see. It still fires.
oh man.
Mine still
Oh right,
runs
and then
flawlessly.
sorry, I just realized, and my cost for that was $1,575.
Oh yeah, my cost for my pistol was $743.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like how you guys all chose Glock clones. You could literally share magazines, with the exception of Paul. As long as you guys all okay.
yeah.
So Tyler and Paul could, I guess.
Yes,
So
because I chose to get 19 round mags.
max.
And that's even why I chose to go this route, because once again, in a crap hits the fan situation, Glock pickups, magazine, everyone's got a Glock in America.
Well,
So
I guess I should just switch to Glock 19 then, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Too late.
Yeah, exactly. Too late.
The poop has already hit the fan. You're done.
I know. Paul was like, man, should I have gone the full size version? Then Kyle starts talking about for magazine compatibility. Like, yeah, that's right. Like, yeah, totally. I was definitely thinking about that. Yeah, I can use Glock 19 mags now. I was totally thinking about that.
Yeah, I think mine came out the highest then. With 1306 was mine.
Yeah, that RMR added it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at 1575, so I'm a little more than you.
Oh, because you have the Gucci Glock, right? Is that what it is?
I did. Well, because the shout says I'm running. It's $1,000 for that thing.
Jeez.
So,
oh my god.
I really debated having a suppressed 22 as well.
Yeah, that's legit. Because I mean, if you want, if the only time I have ever shot anything that was truly movie quiet was a bolt action, granted this bolt action not pistol, but bolt action rifle 22 with a suppressor on it, using student subsonics. It was literally movie quiet. You could not.
I figured I'd just steal a bolt action 22 that's left behind at the store.
The story of Kyle's loadout. I'm gonna steal everything.
I know, it's like I'm gonna steal everything.
Sitting on a pile of stolen goods. What you got there?
I did end up having enough time to build a second list, which was basically which is literally titled "We Purge" in all caps.
Oh man!
And I can tell you, the list is very short.
My purge loadout is very short because I know the location of the National Guard Armory.
I am hiking it with Kyle as well.
All I gotta do is get in there.
We're going on a road trip together.
Rounding out the secondaries though, and I know I joke about you guys and your Glocks and everything, but my knife does not take Glock mags, so I'm not sure.
And then I guess for tertiaries, I think we already all talked about our knives, so I guess we're good on our ends. So
that's fair.
I look at the knife more as a tool for survival rather than a weapon, but picking a knife that could be pressed into that service better than like a standard bushcrafting knife without a tang or without a guard or something like that, or would not necessarily be be a little short-sighted.
I mean, that's why I picked the K-bar.
You know what? This is why it needs to be just like you, Kyle. I'm just gonna run to the Walmart and just break the glass and get a $20 Kershaw or something from there. All right, I'm good, ready to go.
Yep.
Because I chose a push dagger because that is
Yeah.
that is
Little
that's a
hard to
weapon.
baton wood and make tent stakes with a
Yeah, just a little bit. It's gonna be really awkward. As I'm like, how do I do this?
But don't worry, y'all. If we're huffing it together, I got you in this department. You'll see it in my list, but I got you
Yeah.
all in this department. Yeah.
You've got like
So
9 knives on you.
yeah. So for secondary, is my chainsaw, is that considered secondary?
That'd
yeah,
be your
Doom style,
primary,
man.
man.
Does it have a sling? Does it have
Start
a pistol
I'm,
sling?
I'm totally kidding. I don't actually have a
put
chainsaw
the
on it.
Doom start the Doom guy playlist, man.
Yeah. When the
Yeah.
Doom music kicks in.
When
Nice.
the Doom music
Oh
kicks in and
man.
Phil starts running down the hallway with his chainsaw.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
down.
all right.
If we purging, I'll take a chainsaw guy.
Oh man. So speaking of primaries, Philip. So what is your primary then?
All right. So this is where I spent a lot of my dollars in.
I think
But I
most
was
of us
very
did.
what's that?
I think probably most of us did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
my
I
again
didn't.
my thought on this one was like if the poop has hit the fan and like if I'm having to go to a firearm, it's going to be my primary, right?
Yeah.
Like it's going to be a rifle. So I did drop a lot in that, and then a lot of this again. I know we talked about this is like from experience from using this rifle in multiple competitions. So it's a bit of a hodgepodge because it's the one that I put like together. But I do have a few items on here that I don't have on mine today that I was like, oh, I'd like to have that on that specific item. Anyway, so my like the main part of any rifle is kind of is like for an AR anyway is like your upper, right? So this is where I dropped most of my money into it, and I put a primary weapon systems MK 111 mod 1 11.85 inch. That was pretty pricey. That was $930. That's what I spent on it. So I have that. I have the receipts for that specifically. But I picked this one because I've had this. It's run fantastic. It is a piston upper because and we'll get into I got some stuff later to talk about it. That why I picked a piston upper specifically. And then for the lower, I picked just a Aero Precision M4E1 complete lower receiver. And I did not include a tax stamp on here because F the ATF. And anyway, but I did dump some other cash into this too. I am very specific about my AR triggers. So, and I it's not a super expensive one, but I
Snap.
really like.
That's what I
I,
forgot.
yeah, yeah, so I really like the CMC triggers, specifically the flat face
Hmm.
triggers. I have one in PCC that's specific to PCC, and I have one in my rifle today, and they have been fantastic. The only issue I've ever had is the like retainment, like they screw in from the outside. One of them I didn't lock tight, which was that's on me. So I fixed it, locked tight, it's fine. So that's what I got for trigger in the lower, and then I put MOE SL mil spec carbine stock on it from Magpul because the lower itself, the one I selected didn't actually come with one. I did because I have like Yeti size hands, so I put the Magpul MOE Plus pistol grip on it. Again, these items are very expensive, but things that are just like I love to have. They're comfort items for me. I use them all the time. So that kind of rounds out like the rifle itself. I did put a QD mount on it from Strike Industries. It's like an angled one, so it because the grip is so like short because it's 11.85, so it kind of angles it and brings it towards you, so it doesn't stick out the side. I've got one today and I love it. From a sling, I put a like Magpul MS4 sling. I like 2-point, but you can have this one be a 1-point if you choose to. If you got to switch back and forth, I would use it as a 2-point in there. And then I did put a white light on this unit. So I do have a Streamlight ProTac Rail Mount HLX. That was like 128, 79 for that guy for a light because I figure it's always good to have like you never know when you gotta like look into corners or whatever. You're inside a building, you just need a flashlight for whatever. So this would have to operate as my flashlight for everything because I don't have one on. I don't have a secondary. I don't have a light in my knife. Which I
Reflect the
mean,
sunlight.
yeah,
Yeah.
Indiana Jones style.
exactly. And then for optics on here. So I did go with the Holosun HS503 CU. I I have a few of these and I really love them. I've got one that's on a PCC that's got like I've bounced it between PCCs. I easily have one of those optics that has probably 15,000 to 20,000 rounds, like with that optic mounted. PCCs will beat your stuff up because they're all like, for me at least, they're blowback, so it beats the crap out of them. It is dinged up. It does not look beautiful anymore, but man, it has stood the test of time. So I got that. I put a magnifier. Actually, the one that you think you have, Tyler, the Holosun HM3X flip to side mount. So each
Oh, you didn't want the
each one,
6X one?
I didn't because I don't have enough money in my budget to
Fair
put that
enough.
on there.
After I asked, I'm like, oh wait, never mind.
Rest in peace, the
Yep,
budget.
yep.
I
Goodbye
know,
budget.
right?
So kind of rounding that out too, I did have enough money to put a suppressor on it.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, I had put the suppressor I have on it, but it was too expensive and it blew my budget. So and then it dawned on me that I was being dumb because I was putting a multi-caliber can on a gun that was not like it's going to be on that gun. It's not going anywhere
Yep,
else.
that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. So I looked it up real quick. I've heard about these work pretty well. I picked the YHM Turbo T2. That one is rated down to 10-inch barrel. It's an 11.85-inch barrel, and it comes with a I think it's it comes with a brake that you could put on the end of it, so I don't have to buy an additional like flash hider brake or whatever to thread it onto the actual barrel itself. So that was my setup. Oh, and I did put a Corset suppressor cover on it because those things get hot. And I've got one a Corset cover. Forget the name of the brand, but it's one of the main brands, and it works fantastic. I've not had any heat issues on it shooting through courses of fire. It's been perfect. Anyway, that's a lot of stuff, but that is my rifle setup, and I did dump a lot of money into that. I forgot to total that though, so but it's a lot.
It's very sexy though. I would
It's very
contend.
sexy.
Very
Oh,
very.
and the reason why I picked the piston is because I found with anything suppressed, unless you may be doing a flow through can, with the piston you get like less gas in your face, right? So speaking from experience, that is the truth. I did find that out with my can anyway. That again, it's a different can, but whatever. And then I did actually primary weapon systems like they recommend an H2 buffer, so I just put theirs on the list as well too.
Imagine having a semi-auto with gas blowback problems. Can't imagine.
All right, so that's what I got. Any questions before I go to Paul?
No, I gotta hear Paul's stuff.
All
I
right, Paul, what do you
know
got?
what's going on here.
Well,
Are you embracing your I'm not even gonna say it. Go for it.
okay. Okay. So my original intention, because it was like I'm gonna hide out in the middle of nowhere for forever.
Yep.
I wanted something big, and I needed something that was gonna take down larger game because I have to feed myself. Because I'm fluffy. Um, and I wanted to go with an AR-10, but the budget was just not in it. I didn't want to go with an Aero Precision build because I don't really have any personal experience with it. Some people absolutely love them. Some people say it will blow up after 500 rounds. Who knows, or whatever. I didn't go with it, and it was just everything AR-10 was just too expensive, and so I ended up going with a bolt action Bergara B14 HMR,
Yeah.
which is
I have no idea
built
what
off
that
of
is.
it's built off of the Remington 700 platform, so it takes a lot of
Oh,
the same
okay.
accessories and stuff like that. It's just a little bit more performance into it. So it's just instead of like one MOA, it's a sub MOA gun or something like that. It's just
I have one. It's a very nice rifle.
oh, I did not know that. But and even when I looked up at like even when I looked up like Remington 700 prices, like it all ended up either being just as much or even more than the
Oh, wow.
Bagara. So I was like, I guess I just go with this because it already came with a lot of the stuff that I needed to mount accessories. So I went with a primary arms GLX 3 to 18 by
Nice.
44 first focal plane rifle scope. With their ACSS Apollo reticle. It does have mil dots on them, so um, it is fairly large, and there's a lot of information going your way. But if you're shooting at longer ranges, it didn't seem like that big of a deal. You probably have more time to actually utilize that sort of thing. So that was $800 by itself. So literally like four fifths, 80% of the price of the rifle, which was fun. To mount it, because you have to buy a scope mount, because nothing's easy in this world. When you go with scopes, I got a Scalar Works because I had to rearrange this list many times. I ended up going with a Scalar Works Leap/09 34mm scope mount. In their lowest configuration is a 1.57 inch, which that was $439. I figured I'm not really worried about trying to co-witness with anything or have all the cool, D balls and lights and stuff on my rifle. So, and Scalar Works is a really well-known brand, and because I had to take items off this list because they were consumables, I had an extra I literally had an extra $500 that I needed to find a way to make up. So, because
all less is food.
Yeah, well, if I'm out in the middle of nowhere, of course I'm gonna pack food when I can't hunt for it. So 430, it was $439 mount. The extra, I bought 4 extra 5-round mags. That was $115.96. And then I just put a Viking Tactics 2-point sling. I think almost everybody knows that if they do a little bit of research. Yeah. I think I have one personally for my AR, and it's great. It's simple to use. It's easy to set up. And then I also, because I put money down for it. I got a Dead Air Nomad TIXC direct thread.
Nice.
30 cal can on it. Mainly because I guess if I would like things to be a little bit quieter. They seem to be a reputable company. I wanted a can because why not? And even if you do have level 4 plates, I'm sending another round down your way, and you better hope that
you fell behind cover after I shot you the first
time. Yeah. Because it's the age-old joke. Is that legal? Are those level 4 plates? So yeah, I mean, if I'm out in the middle of nowhere, long range is the name of the game. Something big like a 308 is very common. I think you can literally go up online and just like find loads and loads of load data on it and like ballistic drop and stuff like that. So it should be fairly easy to pick up and learn and all that stuff. And like I said, I'm primarily USPSA pistol, so like the world of suppressors and long range is kind of beyond me, just because I haven't put in the time and research to do it. This is the first time I did, so
I would total sidebar, if you're interested in reading about that, I would highly check out Ryan Kleckner's long range shooting handbook.
And also check out an earlier episode of this podcast where they talk about long range shooting.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
acceptable accuracy. Please sponsor us.
But yeah, no, I figured, if we're out in the middle of nowhere, you better hope you got at least level 4 plates. If I see you, you better hope, because you're going down, because I don't like you. So, and that all ended up coming out to $3,403.96.
Nice. I can imagine you in the woods with your ghillie suit, like in a pile of leaves, just like waiting for some unsuspecting like deer or human to walk by.
Or human.
Yeah. You 3 are gonna have to be like, "It's me! Don't shoot!"
Yeah. Well, you could be our sniper.
Like I said, mother henning. I can't go on patrols. No body armor.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, that's basically where all of my money has gone so far.
I believe it. Well, if you're going to go for a long range rifle. But it's kind of funny because, like, going back to what Kyle was mentioning with Ryan Kleckner, because he's a fantastic shooter, but he gets a lot of flack because he's all about, get this, acceptable accuracy. Because he's like, you just need good enough shooting. And he's a sniper for what was it? What's it called? For Ranger Battalion. So which one? The first one. So first Ranger Battalion. So I'm like, all right, cool.
I mean, it's almost like he knows his stuff.
Dude, like the first thing I
Looks like
just
he's
typed
done
in
it for
acceptable
real.
accuracy Ryan Kleckner, he has a video on that called Acceptable Accuracy with Ryan Kleckner.
For the
So
record, that's not where we got our name because I didn't know they had that.
no, me neither. I was like, that's hilarious. I'm like, thankfully it's not a title, but oh well. All right, Paul, who's next?
All right, let's go. You, Tyler, and then Kyle will be last.
All right, sounds good. So when Philip was talking about his rifle, so essentially I'm going to use my personal AR-15 rifle as well, and I completely forgot about the trigger. So hey, who wants to buy my ballistic helmet? Because I messed up.
Well, that being said, like, go ahead because I know what you have, but I at least have an idea of what you have because I know what rifle you have today.
It
But go
is.
ahead.
I'll admit it's a Palmetto State Armory. I love that
Yeah.
thing. I've consistently hit 500 meters with that thing. It's an 11.5-inch AR pistol with a 1-6 primary arms LPVO on it. I love that thing. I'll have a 2.8 Blue Force Gear 2-point Vickers sling on it with QD mounts, Geisley trigger, and I'll make some minor adjustments to get a suppressor ready. Getting a whatchamacallit, a adjustable gas block, get the brake on there, and then I did choose to get a dead. Oh man, where is it? A Dead Air Sandman S. So I want something a little
Mm-hmm.
smaller, a little more mobile, lighter, and a little cheaper. So all that to say, ignoring the Geisley trigger, that puts me at like 2200. With the trigger's like 25. So I guess that I broke the bank. I cheated again. Oh well.
Well, I was thinking about it because I know you have the PSA. Like, it depends what lower you get because their ALG is it ALG trigger or is that their AK version? I forget, but they have like a nickel boron polish
Oh,
something trigger.
gotcha. Mhm.
That's actually not that bad.
The
It's way better than a mil spec.
it's the advanced combat trigger from ALG is if you need to upgrade a trigger and you want to spend less than $100, it is the best trigger you could buy.
Fair enough. I appreciate that. So,
I put that
mhm.
in many rifles that I built professionally and always gotten great feedback.
I'm
Oh, and
just.
I've got a Streamlight light too.
Ooh,
Bam.
nice.
Forgot about that.
I'm still just hoping that I have the most expensive rifle.
I
Nope.
think you do. I'm at
Yeah,
2300
No,
bucks.
Kyle just said no.
Nope.
Jesus.
I
Ooh.
just before Kyle goes, I did some mine was 27.
Nope. Yep. I definitely have the
2.7.
most
Yep.
expensive. It's close,
Yep.
Paul. It's close, but I got you beat.
Oh, dang,
Yeah, because
man.
how much was yours again, Paul?
3403.96. So 3404 if you round up.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got you
But
beat by
yeah.
almost $600.
Jesus.
Wow. All right, Philip, you're next.
Already went.
No, Nate.
I know. Paul, you're next.
Paul already went.
No.
I know.
Who's
Yeah,
running
yeah.
this thing?
Brent, you're next.
Yeah, Daryl, where you at?
Daryl. Where's Daryl at with his bench rest gun?
Brian, you're next.
All right, Kyle, what you got for us? Mine
All
was a
right.
very simple, straightforward one. So
I mean, I was gonna say I went with a pretty simple, straightforward rifle, but clearly I didn't compared to the rest of y'all.
fair enough.
So, what was the barrel length on yours again, Tyler?
11.5.
11.5. So you guys both went short barrel, and Paul went extreme long. More of
Yes.
extreme long range. I went in the middle between the
14.5.
three of you. Yep, I went with a 14.5.
Nice.
It's in my opinion the best compromise for maneuverability and barrel length.
Mm-hmm.
In my real life world, I would probably be going with a 20-inch
Mm-hmm.
because of velocity and most well-rounded for ammunition. But in my current living area, 14.5 should be plenty. And I went with the BCM Recce MCMR 14.5.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I have built guns professionally. I'm very confident in my abilities to build a very reliable quality rifle. I've built guns that guys have bet their lives on and come out ahead, and pretty proud of that ability. However, being able to just buy a complete rifle and know beyond the shadow of a doubt that it's going to work great is
Mm-hmm.
good,
That's
and
hot.
having it go well. And BCM is a very well proven, great track record, very
Oh,
good
yeah.
company to deal with. Done a lot of stuff with their products and been very happy with them. Base rifle is $1,600.
Yeah.
Yep.
The optic I chose, probably the optic I have the absolute most experience with is the TA-31 Trijicon ACOG. It's a very simple, very robust. I had an experience in the Army where a M4 was not secured in a helicopter and fell from about 350 feet into a field, and the
Oh,
optic was
wow.
fine.
I
Oh,
would,
my
Wow.
goodness.
Still
I would
mounted to the rifle,
Wow.
zero
Dang.
shifted very minimally.
Wow.
So now, if that had been concrete, if it had been higher up, if it hit a rock, who knows? It was about 4 inches into the ground, so I'm pretty impressed with it, and it is without a doubt my go-to optic. That with a QD mount, which is the thumb screw QD, I guess is subjective there, but with a good grip strength, you can get it off. It's about $1,000
for the QD mount.
with the optic with the mount.
Oh, okay.
Standard
Yep.
TA-31 thumb screw mount. You can get them for down, I think under 1,000 if you buy just the base model, but then you have to buy the mount anyway. It's a little lacking in the eye relief range, but it's got really great field of view. Obviously, doesn't require batteries. Can be used with night vision, although I haven't had the greatest experience with that. It's not super great for passive aiming, but it can be done. But it's a great optic. A little outdated, but tried and true.
So no PEC 15, no
PEC 15,
no quad nods.
no poly. No.
Wow.
We haven't gotten there yet.
So I went with the basic Blue Alpha sling. Their AK sling, because it has the cable attachments. QD mounts are great. I like them a lot for just being able to switch stuff around quickly. The Magpul MS4 sling is a great sling for the money. But through mud, gunk, years of carry, who knows how long those QD mounts will eventually fail.
Yeah.
It's a little harder for a steel cable to fail than just being able to tie that onto the gun. That's $64.
Yeah.
So
that makes a lot of sense, especially once again, like QD mounts are nice, so you're able to move it from rifle to rifle. This is your primary in a world-ending situation, so you're probably not going to be changing rifles. Hopefully,
and so that also influenced my choice of suppressor. So with the 14.5, suppressor choice is a little bit more limited because that gun starts to get heavy really quickly. I have a Dead Air Sandman S. I love that can. Super durable, pretty good affordability price point, but it is a 30 caliber can. It's definitely hearing safe on my 14.5s, especially if you're almost deaf like me. But it's not quite as good as a dedicated 5.56 can. And since I'm not going to be removing it, it's going to live on the gun and only ever be removed for maintenance and cleaning cycles. I went with the Surefire RC2 5.56 with their 4-prong flash hider.
For sure.
Now they do have a tendency to get carbon locked, but that can be removed. It can come off. It just takes a little bit of effort. But since it's only going to be removed very infrequently, I'm not really, and shot probably pretty infrequently unless things have gone sideways. I'm not worried about that can being carbon locked on the gun. I went with 630 round Gen 2 PMags. They're the ambiguous gold standard for AR magazine.
For sure.
They're inexpensive. You can stack them deep, and they're good to go. I also went with a Magpul M-Lock vertical grip, just to give me something to put my hand on, be able to brace off of barricades, things like that, and also give me a reference point for my Streamlight Protect 2 long gun. It's got it's a Streamlight. It's not probably quite as good as my Surefire lights or Cloud Defensive lights, but It's $150, and it comes with an M-lock mount, swivel capability, tape switch. Comes with everything you need, and
Yep.
will take rechargeable CR123 batteries.
Yeah.
So that's my kit, and it's $3,989.
Nice.
I
That's
should have.
awesome,
I
man.
should have. I should have thrown away the Trigicon RMR. I should just spent the $500 on more stuff for my Bergara. Shoot, man.
There you go.
I do feel very validated though, as like someone who has almost no knowledge on cans, except for the Surefire RC2 is everywhere in terms of this is a can you should buy. I feel
Mhm.
validated. I got a dead air. I don't even know if it's any good, but it sounds reliable.
That's kind of what I say.
The
I know
RC2 is
nothing
an
about
extremely
cans.
good can.
That
But
makes sense.
if you're looking to buy one and only one, and it's only going to go on an AR-15, it's hard to beat that one.
Mm-hmm.
I find it interesting that all of us selected cans.
Gotta
And
protect your ears, man.
and I agree with that. And the other thing that it does, supposedly, and Kyle maybe can speak more to this, but like it helps with like obfuscation of like where the shot came from. If you
That's
have
what
to
it's
make
designed
one.
for.
Yep. So in any kind of case, you're like, number one, it's gonna protect your ears. If you don't have hearing protection on, you shoot inside of a house. It's still gonna hurt a lot, but it's not gonna be like full AR-15 inside the house. Ears are not bleeding, which happened to a good friend of mine. Like
Oh
literally,
wow!
yeah,
Wow.
he was being dumb, just shooting outside from inside a house.
Yikes!
But he's Air Force, so
I
they're
know
supposed to
this
be
friend. Alright.
they're supposed to be smart, but anyway.
I can sweat
Wow!
my dad's Air Force. So
Wow!
If
Just
they were smart, they wouldn't have joined the military.
oh no!
Wait,
that's great.
didn't you join the military?
That is correct.
He's calling himself out, Phil. That's
Oh,
what he's
man.
saying.
No, I know.
So
Okay,
I'm gonna be
so-
real with you guys. That's all I've got. I'm done.
I
That's
have a couple
everything for me.
more.
I
Alright.
also have a couple more things.
I have a whole nother loadout.
Go
so to
for
speak.
it.
I also have a whole
I'm
other
done.
one, technically.
So a big part of this is sustainment. So
Mm-hmm.
we in the military, we never really leave a position without some kind of sustainment.
Yeah.
Either an assault pack for 3-day trip, or full-on rucksack for spending a month out in the field.
Yep.
And packing lists to be determined by mission, METC, all that 9 yards. So I went with an Eberly stock free fall rucksack. I don't have any personal experience with that exact pack, but I do have experience with Eberly stock kits, and it's a good brand. As I said before, I got the sleep system in there, kind of my unique protection item, because sleep is important. If you don't sleep, it sucks. Including with that as just a Amazon inflatable sleeping roll, keep you up off the ground, keep you insulated. I included two quart canteens, kind of going with the water purification. Water is life, and if you can't stay hydrated, you're not going to fight very well or live very long.
For sure.
Yep.
Some kind of miscellaneous stuff that's just in there. Roll of 100-mile-an-hour tape or duct tape, gaffer's tape, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Fix clothes, fix kit. Included with that is like 300 feet of paracord. I also included a camo scrim cover, so that can be used to. It's a homemade item, using various different fibers and spray paints and things like that. So kind of hard to price out, but that's something that can be easily made on the fly with a little bit of knowledge and craftiness. But it's good to be able to just put yourself into a hide or cover your gear while you're searching an area, or conceal yourself from above ground resources. 12-inch folding saw, being able to harvest firewood and build shelter, things like that. I also included a flat bar, just a 12-inch flat bar for prying, breaking locks, breaking chain, breaking windows, things like that. And if you need to gain entry into something, tools are going to help you do that.
Breaking faces.
Yeah, if you had to. Zombies.
Yeah,
Other people, you know.
Then I also included the Self-Reliance Outfitters Pathfinder Cook set. Being able to just purify a single serving of water through boiling, or cook a canned food just to give yourself some warm food can make a big difference. That would be used sparingly. Fires are not something that's recommended, especially if you're alone and in a hostile environment. It's a very easy way to distinguish yourself. But it's also just something, if you know you're in a secure location, or if you're within a group of people and you're away from the line, something to give yourself a little comfort item. That being said, my next item here would completely negate that ability, would be a Leupold thermal handheld monocular. So that is not an overly expensive item, but for observation, location, tracking, things like that, are we've seen a lot the kind of the night vision going away in Ukraine and some other locations around the world. We're seeing a lot more thermals being utilized, and night vision kind of being secondary to that. Being able to see somebody hiding in a machine gun position, whether it's manned or not, or using thermal drones and things like that, being able to spot people through dense, thick coverage, or Paul hiding in a ghillie suit.
Whack. Whack.
Oh, wow.
Is going to give you a big leg up on somebody that either has no night vision or thermal capabilities, or somebody that's only using night vision. It's extremely hard to hide from, and very low signature. So versus night vision, you can see that glow if you also have night vision. It's if you have better night vision, I can see your IR. I can see the green eye that it's casting on your face. Versus thermal gives very, very little signature. And to support that, just standard $40 Amazon solar charging battery bank and rechargeable CR123 batteries. And that doll comes out to about $1,700.
Yeah,
for that
I believe
whole
it.
sustainment kit.
I mean, Kyle actually hit on things that I had initially had on my list, but then it became kind of like does this really matter if I'm thinking long term? Because originally I think I had a tent. I had a tent, and I was like, if I'm going to be out in the middle of nowhere, I probably should be building something bigger than a tent. So I mean, this is even on hindsight when I had a camper's axe. It was like a 14-inch hatchet. Probably if I should have put some more time into it, where realistically that should probably be a full size axe, woodsman's axe or something. And I'm sure I could fit that in the budget because the axe was $42. I did include a folding shovel though, a Gerber Gear
There you go,
folding
man.
shovel, so I can be I build the trenches, for $30. No holla. And then I did find a budget for a Leatherman multi tool.
Nice.
It was there was a lot of these tools and stuff, including the K bar, was just kind of help enable me to just stay out as long as possible. And then of course I did end up finding a great deal on EL Wood Mil-Spec Type 3 550 survival cord, 100 feet for $15. So I do. It was some of these stuff was on the cheaper end and just tools to enable me. Because I spent all the expensive stuff on, a gravity water purifier for $300. But hey,
That's awesome, man.
while you guys are struggling with your nasty water tablets, I'd be drinking clean.
That's what you're talking about, man. We're in a pack. We're in a team.
That's
together.
true. That's true.
I need water, bro.
That's true, because I won't be leaving. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. I'm hunkering down. I ain't going nowhere. Yeah. But I mean, that's pretty much that covers the rest of my list. So I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but I did get a 511 backpack. So I mean, if you include, let's see here, backpack, water purifier, axe, shovel, and Leatherman, and the cord, a 632. So I don't know. This list obviously could be better because Kyle was just like, you better be able to hide from my thermal app.
I didn't think about it. That's such a good idea. Such a great point.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it just depends, right? Like,
Steal emergency blankets from the local gas station.
Yeah, let's just hope. I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna hope
the
that
water bottles from
not
the
everybody
gas
is
station.
Kyle with thermal. So, I would hope my ghillie suit would get me out of 99% of the situation.
And then Kyle just strolls along. It's like, there's someone right there.
Well, it's a good thing he's on my side. Hopefully, maybe.
Well, it's hard. That is the one downside with thermal. It's hard to tell what you're looking at. You might just accidentally get shot.
Oh
man.
Well, that's a good thing I have a second loadout because if I'm not going to live if I don't think I'm living very long, I did build a second list for this.
Oh, it's hilarious.
So.
So Philip, what else? What do you have remaining on your list?
All right. So I got some. This is where I get controversial in I picked for the less of my money, or the rest of my money I have left over. So my thought, and I mentioned this, already fascinating. Everybody's concepts and ideas of like how they're going to handle something like this. My thought was always like, I'm going to probably defend a position with my buddies, you guys, right?
For sure.
And like honestly, everything we have would be fantastic, like as a group to be able to handle that. We talk about water purification. Like I have like a Berkey at home, like right.
Yeah.
So like having that kind of stuff.
So you're gonna walk around with the Berkey.
I'm gonna walk around carrying a Berkey. Yeah, my
there
back.
we go.
No. I thought it's like if I got to purify something, I gotta run it through the anyway. So like kind of like what Kyle was thinking from like an observation perspective. I had multiple ideas on how I was going to handle this. But real quick before I get into that, some items I forgot to mention is I did have 5 PMags on my list. Because you need them obviously for your rifle to run it, and I didn't want to forget it and have be like, what are you going to shoot with? But anyways, that's PMags are on there.
It'll be a pickup. You gotta stab someone first.
Yeah, got 5 PMags in there.
To an AR fight.
No, just steal everything. Kyle's stealing everything.
I know.
Come on, that's what the flat bar's for, man.
And because we're in like a group, and actually kind of what Tyler played off of, I have a radio. It's just a cheap bow thing. I know everybody's going to make fun of me for picking that. But it's $21, and then also the PTT setup that Tyler found for the Howard Light with the Impact Sports. Because I'm like, if you got a radio, you don't want somebody else to be able to hear what over your radio, right? So let's go direct into your hearing protection just for you. Obviously, if you talk, they're going to hear you, but works well. Again, with the Howard Lights, it's nice. You can crank those things up. You get some like more. It helps enhance your listening because you can hear everything from like a distance because you can turn that speaker up in there. But this is where I get controversial. So I was thinking observation as well, very similar to what Kyle was thinking. My initial thought actually went to doing a drone of some sort, because you could use it to potentially drop stuff on people. Because as we're seeing in Ukraine, like Kyle was mentioning before, like all this stuff is great. A drone will show up and drop something on your head and you're dead, right?
It's all fun and games until somebody drops a pipe bomb into your
improvise
foxhole.
Exactly.
So true. Wow.
But my only concern was that it's loud, right? So I don't want, if I'm defending a position, I don't want to give that away by having a loud drone flying around. So I went with and again, this is controversial, the Psionics Opsin Helmet Monocular, which is a digital night vision setup. It is by all means still inferior to like traditional night vision, but it is only $2,000. And it works.
Only $2,000?
Only $2,000.
Bro, that is like a huge portion of your budget.
It is a huge portion of my budget, and
I don't have a secondary.
Oh my!
That's why I don't have a secondary, and all the stuff to go along with it.
I should have thrown away the Glock, man. God.
Yep.
You gotta pick up the Glock.
I know.
Now I know as people say, "Oh, you can get a PVS-14 for $2,000." Maybe, but the price of night vision, like typical analog night vision, again, superior, is going way up. So I did a quick search for it, and like I couldn't get anything to fit within the budget. Right? Maybe if I'd searched the deep dark parts of the internet, I'd find something. But I have to attach it to my helmet. I've been doing a lot of research into night vision stuff, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, you can do the Wilcox super," but they're super expensive, like $400. Like a lot of people are like they use a knockoff connection for it, and they work just as well. So like $80 for a knockoff. And the other thing too is you can use the Opsin as a handheld if you choose to, similar to what Kyle was talking about, right? So again, observation, the ability to be able to see at night, again, not nearly as good as PVS-14. There's some stuff that it can do that's kind of cool compared to like PVS-14, but it literally comes with everything else that you need. It comes with like the arm that you need to attach it to the head mount. It comes with the batteries, everything that you need for it. I wish I would have had the opportunity to slip something in here, like how am I going to charge like any kind of batteries in there, but it was outside my budget, unfortunately.
Just go to Walmart.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yep.
just steal, bro. Come on.
Go to Walmart, go to Home Depot or something.
So yeah, all of that and everything put together puts me at $6,993.17. I'm below the budget.
Yeah, I completely
Nice.
forgot about the Streamlight Pro Tac, just a handheld flashlight. That's $52 because sometimes you just don't need a pointed gun at something. So handheld flashlight that got me to $69.96 and 96 cents. So
Nice.
we be balling.
I was rounding, so I'm at $69.98.
I'm at $69,982. Or excuse me, $6,998.52. I'm a little dyslexic.
Oh, I forgot to mention that I put a large glass box so I could keep away from Kyle's thermal.
Yeah, and my ghillie suit is thermal protection, so like I'd be ghost, you know.
Yeah, I've got an EMP in there too somewhere. Just throw it right towards Kyle.
Oh, that's actually. I'm glad you brought that up, Tyler, because I legitimately struggled with putting the Hollow Sun on my rifle versus an LPVO. The only reason I put the Hollow Sun on there was because there is a night vision setting, and from what I understand is because I don't own night vision, it's very difficult to shoot passively, but you could if you had to, and there is night vision settings on the Hollow Sun. Again,
that makes sense. Yeah, I chose
that's why I didn't do an
LPVO
LPVO
because of the small possibility of an EMP.
Yep. Yeah, my alternative was to switch out to LPVO. With like a Tujicon LPVO like I have today, but then again, that blows the budget.
That makes sense. I was curious about
that. What is that?
I tried to minimize my electronics use as much as possible.
Sure.
The only thing I have is the thermal.
Yeah.
And the weapon light on the rifle and pistol that wouldn't be used very often.
I probably should have done that too, because what is it? I have the RMR and the handheld light. So realistically, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. I mean, I'm also the only one on long range, so I am very much Gucci in that department. So
you know what, the four of us put together, we would be just great. It'd be perfect.
I mean, my list needs to definitely get refined some more. Thanks to Kyle, thermal.
I agree.
And gas mask, but I mean, you know, I have a shovel, so honestly, you can't see me if I'm underground, right?
It's true.
# Vietnam.
Well, it's interesting because like I was watching
along with the ancestors.
If you think about like, you know, Vietnam, like you brought up, like Afghanistan, they all dug tunnels and they would just pop in their tunnels, and like they've got iron sighted AKs and they survived. So just saying.
Well,
yeah,
we did kill them by the thousands.
Well,
yes. One big oof.
Your organization survived, but the individuals.
A lot of individuals died.
So well.
Yep.
The history
but
of that
considering, All right. So, any other thoughts on this gear loadout setup before we close up with our closing outro and advice?
$7,000 is not enough.
It is not.
It is not enough. Like
so
that was
intentional. But it's hard.
Well, like
you have to compromise. You have to make compromises and really focus on what your goals are.
But even for
Mhm.
me, like,
And even what situation too? What
yeah.
context?
But like a gas mask and stuff. How much is that running you, Kyle?
Surplus gas mask, $150.
Yeah, 100. Like realistically, I could probably find room for that, right? Like if
Mhm.
I went back to my 60, the original scope mount, which is $60, and like shed a couple areas there, I could probably include the gas
Mhm.
mask and stuff. But it was just like the gas mask I found was $500. And
Oh, for
so
sure.
for me, it was like, well, that's going to be out of the budget for right now, and it is what it is. I mean, I clearly must not have been looking hard enough because I had enough time to build a whole second list.
Well, and into like the point of a gas mask, right? Like in the point of having like a handheld monocular to be able to at least scan your environment around you, right? Like I could dump my helmet, dump the mount, and then have enough to have a gas mask. And honestly, I feel like there's probably more value in that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I spent the $275 on a level 3 holster from Safariland is because, well, it's if I have to do whatever outside, it's never gonna fall out.
Yeah.
And
right.
Kyle has a very different experience than I do, but like I don't 100% trust just friction to hold my gun in. I've even just at USPSA matches, I have cranked down my before I got the holster I have now. I've cranked down on the tension screws, and you know it's if I shake around hard enough, that thing can and has fallen out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
I'm
think in a tactical environment, at least a level 1 retention holster is required.
you
Yeah,
know
for sure.
Having that mechanical locking system is required.
Yeah.
It's especially if your environment is a wooded or more rural wilderness area where you're going to be bushwhacking through underbrush and things can reach out and grab at pistol grip.
mm,
Having that mechanical locking is required
Mhm.
in my book.
yeah.
I mean,
I agree with that.
because on Paul's point, originally I actually put the rapid force holster level 3, the one that Milspec Mojo's been raving about recently, and our buddy Brent has it now too.
The
Mm,
Originally
hailing
that was
gear.
on my list, but that was $160. But it's I was like, I technically got my Safari Land for $90, so that was kind of my loophole. So I was like, I needed to
yeah.
save some money, which is technically a level. They call it a level 1, but really it's a level 2 holster.
And
So
even like there's an argument to be made about for at least my loadout. Do I really need a can?
Yes.
You
yes.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
In
Mhm.
a situation, I mean, team environments, mission drives gear. It's the never-ending YouTube freaking catch-all where you watch a video and at the end it's like, well, met TC, and they're like, well, I just spent 20 minutes watching your video today. It depends. Great, thank you,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
there are some things that are absolutely required,
Yeah.
and if you're operating in a hostile environment by yourself or in a small team, the
Mhm.
ability to confuse and conceal your muzzle flashes and report from your rifle are required,
Mm,
especially in a long range environment, especially if you're going up against a more technologically advanced force that has spotting and counter sniping or counter battery capabilities. You need to have something that gives you as much advantage as possible, something that's what a suppressor is designed to do. Yeah, it's
mm,
great if you're, clearing Walmart and you have to crank rounds off. You're not going to completely blow your eardrums out, but really what it's for is you're on the roof of Walmart taking a shot at that
Mhm.
convoy driving into your area, and they don't know where it's from because they can't see
mm,
muzzle flashes and they can't pinpoint the rifle report.
mm.
That's
Yeah.
Mhm.
really what those are for.
Yeah, and see that goes to my second list. Like if I don't expect to be living very long and I'm stuck in the city, this list is very much shortened.
Paul, I
Oh,
need to hear the
belt fed
second list.
308 and a freaking leather unitard.
Read your
I know.
list, Paul. Just read it, bro.
My
well,
list
hang on,
is my second list is great if I am expecting to be out in like maybe 2 hours, maybe if I'm
You have
lucky.
been teasing this list all
hang on,
This
hang on,
dude,
night,
the
man.
We Purge list
hang
is so
hang on.
funny.
Hang on. I honestly we're welcome to read this list, but I almost feel like we should do another episode again with like the
Purge.
concepts that you have behind the
Just
purge concepts
purge
or whatever.
lists.
Oh, the Purge
Yeah.
list is great, bro.
Yeah.
All right, I'm good with that.
Yeah, we can.
I guess this is part 1 then, guys. So any other closing thoughts?
For me, I would say obviously this is all for fun, right? Like sort of.
Fun.
And
I'm playing
right.
to survive,
Yes.
man.
I'm literally looking
Yeah.
at half my loadout on the floor right now.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Wow.
as are we.
Just a flex a little bit,
When,
Kyle.
when I say for fun, it's like they're gonna get like internet armchair generals who are gonna be like, well, actually,
Well,
you should have picked this.
go out
But
But
you know
there.
what?
okay, keyboard warrior.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you want to pick that, and if it works out for you, let us know.
But to be
Tell us
fair, on
about it.
that end, like for me, I'm like this is a lot of this stuff is fairly new to me. So like if someone has actual data that will back up and say like, don't buy a Bagara B14 and actually just buy a Remington 700 because of X, Y, and Z, I think
For
that's
sure.
completely fair. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there obviously there's a lot of trolls out there, but having this open thread is really nice for people like me.
Yeah, honestly, the Brigera is a fantastic firearm they picked. They maybe the only complaint would be it's a little bit heavier, but again, it's a fantastic rifle.
Yeah.
So,
But like just on that end, like I was saying, it's just this list is at least enough to get you thinking. And
Right.
our conversation list is enough to get you wondering about where you need to make compromises.
Yeah.
In your list. So I mean, it's a starting point, and with money being a very finite thing in a lot of people's lives, it's at least a place where you can start and save up and buy things as you go along, and hopefully you get everything that you need before it goes down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, Paul and Kyle, we kind of do like a dad advice, or if you're not a dad, just an advice thing at the end of the podcast. So Paul, I'm going to kind of let you continue on your thought thread there real quick and give us some advice, and maybe you can be related to this or anything else.
Yeah.
To kick us out here.
Yeah. No. My advice is just no matter what comes your way, just keep going. Like I'm sure everybody has an amount of haters out there for just them personally, and you gotta outlive them. So keep moving forward.
That's good advice, man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tyler, what do you got for advice for us?
I kind of had 2. I'm really debating on which one I'd like to share. And as I'm talking about this, I am pulling a blank on both of them now.
We can skip over
So,
Kyle real quick.
wait.
It's coming to you.
Do new things.
Oh.
It's okay to suck at things, man. Like I to give a personal example, I've never played softball or baseball before, and our church started a men's softball team in a league, and we got demolished. But you know what? We went out there, we had a great time. These are guys I never would have hung out with, and they're becoming brothers. So, and we're all kind of sucking together. So, do hard things, do new things, learn a skill.
Yeah, that's awesome, Tyler. I appreciate that. I know we talk a lot about that, and it's tough. Like getting outside and getting away from your TV, your phone, your computer, whatever it may
Yes.
be, and doing other stuff is tough. It's
Yeah.
hard because we want to sit in front of there, but create real experiences.
Yes.
Along kind of backing up what you're
Right.
saying.
After you finish
Actually,
listening to the Acceptable Accuracy podcast.
Well, you can listen to that while you're doing stuff outside. Just saying.
I know, right? That actually was, now that I think about it, I do remember my first one that was way before. It actually was put your phone down, put social media down, go outside. Even though we are a podcast and we're on social media, but I deleted.
Bro, people got to drive places. They can listen to us while they're driving.
It's true, I know, but I'm saying like I deleted, or rather, I'm still on social media, but I don't really have it on my phone anymore. I don't want to doom scroll. I don't. It's crazy to me because I think it's Florida right now. I could be wrong. but I think they're trying to pass a law right now that is banning social media for anyone under 16.
Not gonna argue. Okay,
Fantastic.
it's a free
I think that's
country.
a great idea.
It's a free country, and people should do whatever they want, but it's not a bad idea.
I think it's a great idea. I don't think, because with social media,
It's only a free
yes,
country
you
when
are
you're
giving.
18.
What'd you say, Kyle?
It's only a free country once you're 18.
That's fair. That's actually legit.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly.
Uh,
I agree with that. Like, with social media itself, like, not only are you giving the world into the hands of these children, you're giving the world access to these children as well
Yeah.
by giving them access to social media.
And this is a whole different topic. I'm going to have to
really
very
is.
slightly disagree on that personally, because it will and has led to worse things. So, but my 2 cents.
For next time, the
Yeah.
controversial.
Yeah, I know. Right? Yeah, we can definitely chat more about it next time.
This
I'm
is gonna
fascinated
hurt
now.
All right, Kyle, what do you got for advice for our listeners here?
So, I guess prepare soon, prepare often, and always look to the moral high ground.
Hmm,
I like that.
that's really good.
Man, Kyle, I'm getting like lots of little nuggets from you today. I'm glad that we had you on.
Thank you.
And I love everybody else too, but it's like we haven't like Kyle and I have in-depth conversations quite a bit. Like, but it's nice to have this in-depth conversation with you, Kyle.
Well, you've officially filled your diversity quota for the day. So,
What are you talking about?
Oh my God.
well,
We are both majorities here right now.
I mean, technically, if you really want to think about it, it's 100% American in this room right now.
That's right.
That's right. And
Oh,
that's actually where my advice goes for you. So my advice to round this out is get your friends together, go out and practice, like shoot together, get outside, go do stuff, train, go to matches, like learn how to do comms together. The Second Amendment in the United States is only what we allow ourselves to make it. And if we don't exercise our rights, they're gonna go away. And be vigilant too, and like get involved as much as you can. People hate politics. I hate politics, but at some point, somebody's gonna try to take something away that is really important to you. And even if you don't want to necessarily like be out there, doing whatever, put your money towards it too, because there are great groups out there for Second Amendment that are going to, like the Firearms Policy Coalition, Gun Owners of America, that they're going to take those dollars and then fight the fight for you, right? It's because it's hard. It's a lot of work. But the more people we get out shooting, the more people we go out training with, the more people we understand that the things we've talked about today, from like a equipment perspective, should be considered normal. Because if you think of like the Minutemen from like back when this country was founded, they had all the same stuff that was available to the military at the time, despite what the politicians may try to tell you.
It was better.
Yeah, exactly. They had more money than like merchant ships were probably more decked out than government ships at the time. So just saying.
And well regulated
allowed me to own a battleship. Just saying.
Yeah, that's legit.
And well regulated doesn't mean regulation on policies to limit you. It's regulation of well regulated is all the things that will keep you running as necessary for a militia.
Yep. Practice. I think well regulated, like well organized.
Yes.
Awesome. Fantastic. Kyle and Paul, this has been a fantastic episode. I'm really excited that you guys were joining us today.
It was fun.
Yeah. We'll have you on again for sure.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Before I forget, for everyone out there, like, subscribe, comment. If you put comments out there, we'll read it. We'll read it for you. It'll be fun. And then for Tyler, do you have anything else to kick us out here?
Remember to, like you said, remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow, and give us a review, man. Give us a review. That'd be awesome. That could be your action step for today. But other than that, I appreciate everyone. Awesome time, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.